In India, from the 7th to the 12th century, a wave of unprecedented change was sweeping through. This was the era when centuries-old systems were collapsing, and new, powerful regional empires were rising from their ashes. Imagine an era where the struggle for power was at every turn, where the sharpness of the sword and the grandeur of temples both symbolized the dominion of kings. This was not just a change of kings, but a new chapter in the political and social fabric of India, laying the foundation for the centuries to come. This change began when the central power of the large empires began to weaken. Small feudal lords and local chieftains, who were previously subordinate to the great kings, now began to assert their independence and power. In the south, dynasties like the Cholas, Chalukyas, and Pallavas established their identity, while in the north, several Rajput states also rose to prominence. The ambitions of these newly emerging kings were limitless. They didn't just want to rule their territory, but wanted to expand their influence, subjugating neighboring states. The most direct way to demonstrate power was war. These wars were not fought only for land or wealth, but also to establish prestige and supremacy. A king's prowess was measured by the strength of his army and his victories in war. When one king defeated another, he would demand tribute from the defeated kingdom. This tribute was not only in the form of taxes or gold, but also included precious gifts, elephants, horses, and even the symbolic acceptance of the defeated king's submission. This arrangement was a public display of the victorious king's power and the defeated king's weakness. These kings built magnificent temples to showcase their power and prosperity. These temples were not just places of worship. They were symbols of the king's religious devotion, his immense wealth, and his artistic patronage. For example, the Brihadiswarar temple of Thanjavur, built by the Chola kings, is famous for its grandeur and architecture, which still tells the story of their power and magnificence today. Temples often had vast land grants, which made them economic centers as well. They employed artisans, priests, and administrators, and promoted trade activities. Thus, temples became the religious, economic, and social axis of the king's rule. Another important aspect was the practice of land grants. To keep his army happy and ensure loyalty, the king would grant large pieces of land as jagirs or fiefs to his officers, Brahmins, and military commanders. Through these land grants, the king not only rewarded his supporters, but also entrusted them with the responsibility of local administration and revenue collection. These land grants were often recorded on copper plates or inscriptions, which are important sources for us to understand the history of that period today. They tell us how land ownership and control played a crucial role in the distribution of power, and how this system gradually strengthened the feudal system. This period from the 7th to the 12th century was a transitional era in Indian history. It strengthened regional identities, gave rise to diverse art styles and architectural marvels, and constructed a complex socio-political structure. These new kings and kingdoms not only shaped their own time, but also set the stage for larger empires in the future, such as the Delhi Sultanate and the Mughal Empire. Their wars, their tribute system, their magnificent temples, and their land grants. All these still tell us the story of that dynamic and transformative era today. This era teaches us how the balance of power constantly shifts, and how each age leaves behind marks that, even centuries later, keep us connected to our roots. Through these historical sources, we understand that glorious past and draw inspiration from it.